In a quiet village, there lived a mysterious food seller named Aïcha. Every single day, people came from far and wide, drawn by the irresistible aroma that drifted from her stall. Long before the sun even rose, a long line would form at the market, each person eager for a taste of her incredible food. Her meals were unlike anything anyone had ever tried, rich, flavorful, and completely unforgettable. But Aïcha was a woman of many secrets. No one knew where her ingredients came from, how she managed to cook so much food every day, or even where she lived. She spoke very little, had no known family, and seemed to appear each morning as if from thin air. Some villagers believed she was blessed, a gift from the heavens. Others, however, whispered that her success was unnatural, that something wasn't right. Among those filled with jealousy was Mama Quassi, another food seller at the market. No matter how hard she worked, her food never sold like Aïcha's. Day after day, she watched the crowds flock to Aïcha's stall while her own pots grew cold. Her frustration festered, turning into a bitter resentment that consumed her thoughts. Soon, rumors began to spread, fueled by Mama Quassi's whispers. How can she feed so many people with just a few pots? She would mutter to the other vendors. Maybe she uses charms. Maybe she isn't even human. Despite the gossip, the villagers kept coming, their loyalty unshaken. Even the village chief ordered Aïcha's food for every feast, declaring it the best in the land. One evening, Mama Quassi returned home, her heart heavy with anger and humiliation. She hadn't sold a single meal that day. To her shock, she found her husband content and full. He calmly told her he had already eaten. At Aïcha's stall, he said, his eyes lighting up. Her food is incredible. You have to try it. For Mama Quassi, those words were the final blow. That night, her jealousy twisted into a dark and dangerous obsession. She had to know Aïcha's secret, no matter the cost. The next evening, after the market had closed and the stalls were empty, Mama Quassi hid in the shadows, her eyes fixed on Aïcha's stall. She waited for what felt like an eternity until Aïcha finally packed up and left. With her heart pounding in her chest, Mama Quassi crept out of her hiding spot and began to follow her, deeper and deeper into the forest. What she discovered that night would change everything. Aïcha stopped in a hidden clearing, a place untouched by the moonlight. With a strange motion, she struck the ground with her foot, and a trapdoor creaked open, revealing a dark hole beneath the earth. Mama Quassi peered closer, her breath catching in her throat as she saw what was inside, a lifeless body. Before she could even scream or run, Aïcha turned, her eyes locking on to Mama Quassi's. A cold smile spread across her face. With just a whisper, dark magic filled the air, a chilling force that wrapped around Mama Quassi. In an instant, the world went silent. She lost her hearing. And her voice. Paralyzed by terror, she was dragged into Aïcha's hidden lair. There, she was forced to eat a dark, horrifying soup, a taste so vile it burned her soul. Aïcha watched her, her expression calm and unbothered. You wanted my secrets, Aïcha said, her voice echoing in the silence of Mama Quassi's mind. Now you will live with them. Mama Quassi was sent back to the village, a broken shell of her former self. She was unable to speak, unable to hear, unable to warn anyone of the horror she had witnessed. The secret was locked inside her, a tormenting prison. Days turned into a week, and the weight of the terror became too much to bear. Overwhelmed by despair and helplessness, Mama Quassi took her own life. The village mourned her tragic death, but no one knew the real reason for her despair. No one, except for one woman, Aminata, Mama Quassi's closest friend. She knew her friend, and she knew that something terrible must have happened. She suspected Aïcha was behind it all. Determined to uncover the truth and get justice for her friend, Aminata decided she would not rest until Aïcha's secrets were exposed. One night, Aminata gathered her courage and followed Aïcha into the forest, just as Mama Quassi had. Hiding in the darkness, she witnessed the unthinkable. She saw Aïcha preparing her food, not with spices and vegetables, but with human flesh. The secret ingredient that made her food so irresistible was the most horrible thing imaginable. Horrified but resolute, Aminata ran to the village authorities. She reported everything she saw, but without any proof, no one believed her. They saw her as a grieving friend, lost in conspiracy and sorrow. Even the king dismissed her claims, waving her away as if she were mad. Her pain deepened when Mama Quassi's own husband, the man who should have been mourning, revealed he was now in a relationship with Aïcha. It felt like a betrayal to his late wife's memory, but Aminata refused to give up. Her resolve hardened when the village healer, a kind old man who had started asking questions, was found mysteriously killed. Aminata knew then that Aïcha would stop at nothing to protect her secret. That night, as she prayed for guidance, Aminata had a powerful vision. She saw an angel, bathed in light, who urged her to be brave and to act. The vision filled her with a newfound strength. Armed with her Bible, her phone, and her unshakable faith, Aminata returned to Aïcha's hut one last time. This time she was prepared. As she entered, she secretly started recording on her phone. Aïcha, realizing she was being exposed, turned on her with fury. Dark magic swirled around the room, a terrifying force meant to silence Aminata forever, but Aminata did not flinch. She stood her ground, held her Bible tight, and began to pray aloud, her voice ringing with faith. Suddenly, a brilliant light filled the room, pushing back the shadows. The power of her faith was stronger than Aïcha's darkness. The evil magic dissolved, and Aïcha collapsed, defeated. The video evidence captured everything. When Aminata showed it to the villagers, their disbelief turned to horror and outrage. The truth was undeniable. Aïcha was arrested, and her reign of terror finally came to an end. Peace and safety returned to the village. Aminata was honored as a hero for her courage, her perseverance, and her unwavering faith. Justice at last was served. This story teaches us that envy is a destructive poison and that great evil can often hide behind a mask of success. But it also shows us that truth, no matter how deeply buried, will always find its way to the light. Faith, courage, and the determination to do what is right can overcome even the darkest of forces. Dear viewers, what lesson did you learn from this powerful story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this tale, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thank you for watching.